Hey everyone, Theo here. Last week I showed you how I organize everything I do in Dungeon Defenders, and I spent a lot of time walking through how I track and manage my gear using a spreadsheet. This week we're taking a look at a brand new tool created by Mage that lets you view all of your gear directly in a web browser. It automatically analyzes your armor and tells you what it is and which heroes it's best suited for, along with a bunch of other really useful features. I'll do my best to cover everything this tool can do in today's video. So enough intro, let's get started. The tool that we're talking about today is called Dungeon Defenders Gear Optimizer, and I'll put a link to this website in the description of this video. Basically, it's quanticmage.github.io/ddgo. And you see here, it's going to kind of cover everything you need to do in order to actually use this tool. So we're going to come down here to the very bottom section of this page, and we see here it says Run Dungeon Defenders, log into Ranked, then click Export to Open. Doing this will export our save to open, and then we'll be able to load that into this browser and see all of the data for our save. So we're going to go ahead and do that first. I'm going to go ahead and launch Dungeon Defenders, and we're going to go ahead and export our file. All right, to export our file, we need to go launch Dungeon Defenders. We click Play Online. We click Ranked. We click OK. We'll just choose a hero, and then we're going to click Export to Open. We're going to click Yes, OK, and that is it. I'm going to go click Menu, and then I'm going to click Exit Game. All right, so now we have exported our save file to our local computer. Now that we've exported our save, we need to go ahead and go to that directory. The easiest way to get to that directory is to go into Steam. We're going to right-click on Dungeon Defenders, and we're going to click Manage, and we'll click Browse Local Files. That's going to bring us up to this directory here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go to Binaries. And for me, I'm using the 32-bit version. If you're using the 64-bit version, your file will be in there. We're going to go to Windows 32 folder, and we're going to scroll down until we see dundefheroes.dun, which is right here. So what we're going to do is I'll move this window over to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and bring up our DDGO window. And you can see here, it says everything we need to do is already set in here. Go to Dungeon Defenders Steam library, right click, Manage, Browse Local Files, then go to Binaries/Win32 or Win64, whichever version that you're using. Now we're going to drag the dundefheroes.dun file here. So we're up here where it says that, we're just going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to drag the file and drop it. So once you load your file, it's going to automatically open up your file, and it's going to load into your very first hero on your very first page. And for me, that first hero is Floor Jansen, which we kind of showcased in last week's video. And so you can see here, it pulls in all of that data. So in the paper doll section, it shows what my hero's stats are. And it also shows all the different armor on the right-hand side. So I'm going to cover everything about this page as much as I possibly can in this video. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and swap this hero. And I'm going to swap over to a hero I've specifically set up for this particular video. So I'm going to go ahead and choose my Ultipretness. But obviously clicking on this drop down right here, it's going to show all of your heroes, and it has them in the order. The heroes are displayed as in the order they are in your game. And so for me, we knew that my top row was the first 4 of my Guardian Summers at the top, and then my 4 builders. And then the second page was obviously my monks, and then the rest of my builders and my adept upper. So just know that all of these heroes are not in alphabetical order. They are the order that they are in your Dungeon Defenders game. So first page, second page, third page. Scrolling down further, there's some test ones down here if you want to test out equipment. This is basically just seeing what your stats would be on without actually having to create another hero and putting armor on them. So if you wanted to compare a test hero versus what your actual hero is. So there's a whole bunch of test ones way down here. So for this specific video, I have Alt Apprentice set up. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose that hero. And I actually have some armor on there. And the reason why I've set this up is because you can hover over each armor piece like this, and it'll actually show you their stats. And I did not want to do that with Ultimate Plus gear on, so that is why it is just showing. I have this hero set up for this specific video. So before I get into all this, let's start covering this website. So we have, obviously, if you have a new file you want to load, you can just load new, and that'll take you there. You can also export all of the data to a CSV file. And this is what I specifically do when I want to add this data into my spreadsheet. It's a lot easier. So I already know all the data is. Like all the new equipment I want to add to my spreadsheet, I make sure it's in a specific folder. I can load it in here and click export to CV. and then I just got to go through that CSV file and grab the data I want to add into my spreadsheet. And that's pretty much how I do things. Moving down, we obviously have the paper doll section, and like we talked about, here's where all your heroes are, and then we have our rating mode. And so this is where you can choose what kind of hero this is going to be. So this is my Ultra Apprentice, and obviously I want it to be a Builder Apprentice, which is perfectly fine, right? There we go. But if I change this and said I want it to be a Builder Hermit, you're going to watch these numbers over here change. So you see, this armor is actually a 937 piece if I hover over it. But as a Hermit piece, it's a 646 because Hermit adds damage, range, and tower health. So just know you can change all of these to suit your needs. So Builder Summoner, obviously this is a horrible Builder Summoner, right? Because it's made for a Builder Apprentice. But these are all the different most commonly used types of heroes. You have your Builder App. So your Builder Apprentice focuses on rate, range, and damage. You have your Builder Hermit, which for my perspective, my Hermits favor Builder App status, but your traditional Builder Hermit is health, damage, and range. You have your Builder T range, and you see here when you hover over them, there's a little pop-up that shows you what each one of those are, right? So you see there it says, Builder T range, you care more about your range stat. Your Builder EV cares more about T damage. Your Builder Summoner is THP, your tower health. Your AB1 obviously is just resistances and ability 1. Then you have your DPS, your AB1 DPS heroes. Think of it like your DPS apprentices, which are going to be resistances, hero damage, and ability 1. You have your DPS AB2s, which is resistances, hero damage, and AB2. You have pure DPS. Think of this as mostly like your jesters, where they're not really beholden to an ability score. Obviously Jester's ability you do want to cap if you're wheeling, but Jesters are generally considered your pure DPS, where it's resistances and damage. Then you have Gunwitch, which is resistances, hero damage, and tower damage. Then you have another type of Gunwitch is called the Needle Witch, which favors resistances and tower range. And then you have your Guardian Summoners, which are resistances and hero health. These are your basic, the most common builders and DPS heroes out there. And you can change this section here, this archetype, to any one of these ratings, and that'll change things. So I'm going to go back to my Builder Apprentice here. And then, so you see here, this number at the top is the website calculating what that number would be for this piece. What you see below that is what I actually have it named. So the top piece is what the actual value is of that item. So if I hover over this one here, you see here that my value is 1840, which is 840 plus 496 plus 504, and that gives us a total of 1840. And so that's what that armor piece would be called. So and you see here this in the small numbers, that's what I've actually named it. And when I click on that, it actually scrolls all the way down to the armor piece further down here. So I'm going to just scroll. I have a ton of armor in here, but you can see here, every piece of armor I have will show up in here. So before we get down to here, let's cover some more things here. So just know, you click on any one of these pieces, it's going to take you down here. Obviously you see here I have 2,544 items. So you can hover over any one of these pieces and it's going to show you what those values are, and it is pulling in kind of just the image of that item as well, which is a really nice touch. You can click on here and say equip best. So it's going to basically look at all the armor you have and say, put all the best armor that's possibly out there on this specific hero. I'm not going to do that because I don't, it doesn't, I should just say this. Anything you do in here doesn't do anything to this, in your game. It's just a theoretical thing. Hey, I want to see what the best gear I have for a Builder app would be. It'll do the work for you. And it's going to basically, it won't hold, like for my hero right now, they're wearing leather. It won't matter. It's just going to grab whatever set exists out there, which is the best, it's going to equip. Same for, accessories and things like that. And obviously, anything that you see here has a hover, it'll actually tell you what it does. All right, so I'm gonna move over to the right. So we have Sensor Ultimate Plus Plus. That box is always going to be checked, right? And that just you see here, all my gear here has X's at the end. And that's just, that's to censor those items, because what you don't want is the actual values of all of your Ultimate Plus Plus gear to get out there, because then they could be duped, and we don't want that. I'm going to kind of go through it. Obviously, these all have pop-ups, so, they're self-explanatory, but you check the box and it'll just show the items as if they were fully upgraded. And where that comes into place is if I scroll way down here, there could be like right here, there's this piece of armor right here. It's an Ultimate Plus Plus piece. It is level 1 of 445. If I actually just check this box, it would turn this into a theory as to what this item could be like if it was upgraded. Our next one here is Assume Set Bonuses. And it basically just shows items as if they have a set bonus in the table. So these are the values right here. Let me scroll down to like Ultimate Gear real quick. So like this Ultimate Plus Plus one right here, right? This value is 569, 297, and 323. So if you assume set bonuses, that would change these specific numbers. You see there, see how damage went to 797. That assumes it's part of a set bonus. This is what the actual stat is, but if it was part of a set, if it was part of a male set, that 569 value would actually be 797. Obviously, you want to compress the size of the elements. You want to make the window smaller, so you can check that box. Also, obviously, check this box if sides matter to you. Like for me, like my T-range monk, my builder monk cares about tower health, cares about tower damage, and I know it shouldn't really matter, but I still care about tower rate too. So you can check that box. Then you have get live prices. So this website actually has a database of what all the event items are valued at and what gear is valued at. Checking this box here will basically kind of look. It'll grab the existing the price of that item through an API. And last but not least, you have your item box size. We talked about there are 3 different sizes of your item box, which you can configure in the UDK CDT file within your install directory. You can have yours 5x3, 4x3, or 6x4, and you can change this to whatever it is. And the reason I say change this to whatever your item box is, if it doesn't set, is when you look down here where it says item box storage, and you see here where it says, see that number right after Huntress, that's its position that's its page in that specific folder. I'm trying to see if I actually have anything like deep. So right here, this chain coat right here is in my item box folder. Was actually in the Summit folder, which is in the safe folder, which is in my item box, and it's on the 9th page. Now, how it determines what page it's on is based on levels. So if you're ever looking for this particular piece of gear in the game itself, you would need to sort by levels and then go to the 9th page, and that's where you would find this specific piece of gear. And obviously here's the 10th piece. So it is sorted by level. So just so you know. But if you change this, it's going to, you change your directories, it's obviously going to change the folders themselves. Moving down here, we have filters. So what these filters are going to do, they're self-explanatory. Right now, everything's checked, right? But maybe I only want to see helmets, so I can just get rid of all of this, and it's only going to filter. It's only going to show me the helmets I have in my file. If I'm only looking for a specific item type, I only want chain helmets, I can filter it down, and it's only going to show me the chain helmets that I actually do have. And you obviously have other events. So that you can select all of your different sets, all of your different types can be checked here. And if you want to do a custom search, if you're looking for something specific, you can obviously do that. You have a few other things here. Let me just go ahead and select all. Obviously your type is all. When I hit select all, it also is grabbing brooch, all of your accessories, your pets, your weapons, and currency. I don't really need all of that, so I'm just going to kind of clear some of this out. I'm not looking for any of those things. But this would be very helpful if you're just trying to find the best accessories that you have in your setup. Let me just say none. And I just want to do masks, bracers, and brooches. Let me scroll down, and I can look at all the different accessories I have, and they're rated right now is based on my builder app. If I change it to Hermit, it's going to change. So what I change up here changes what your rating you're looking for down here. So all the gear I have in my item box, and basically in this example we're just looking at accessories, all the gear I have is now named by its rating. So its Hermit rating is 996. If I change it to T range, these values change. So we can see here that I have a pair of antlers that are in a specific folder that have a rating of 525. So just know your rating down here is all going to be based on what you choose up here. So I'm going to stick with my app numbers. Over here we have your equipped armor rating. So this is what your number is if it adds all of your armor pieces up together. So in this specific example, sometimes when you're on dungeon, you're on DDRNG, you might hear, hey, I have an 18K app, I have a 20K app, I have a 19K app. That's what they're talking about, is what this number is on your app. But it also includes your pets and your accessories and your weapons. So just know. Some of these things that may not matter to a whole lot of other people, but you can click here. You see here, this is your vanity account armor total. This shows you how much of all the armor you have in your account, what it's technically worth. Doesn't mean that's what it actually is worth, but that's what it could possibly be worth if you try to sell it. And there were actual buyers who wanted to buy it. And then you have your vanity account event total. And so this is just this calculates all the events that you have in your account, and if you sold them, what their current event price list is. And if you click next to it, it'll bring up this little window here, and it'll show you the amount of, over here. Obviously, I'm an event host, so I have a lot of duplicates, right? But this shows all of the events that exist currently, and how many of those that I actually have. And so if you're trying to see or pay, do I have this or that? You can scroll through here and see all of those things. So let's see if they, and it's all sorted by, pets, by guardians. They did a really nice job of kind of sorting this thing out, and it's all kind of based on the event sheet itself. So let's go to accessories, high-end hats. Okay, so I have 24 Delver's brooches. So you can also see what the price is, and again, these are all approximates. So just know that, if you want to see, and you can copy all this too, which is always nice. So these are all the different events you may have. So for you event collectors out there, kind of a nice thing. Moving down, let's talk about this actual page. All right, first let me clear out my filters, because my filters. All right, so I'm going to say armor. And I'm going to say armor. So we're just going to look at armor. If I scroll, I'm going to scroll down just so we can look down here for just a minute. Let's scroll down. So down here, remember, all of this stuff, this rating is all tied to what you have chosen up here. And I have chosen Builder App, so this is what my rating is for all of these different pieces of gear. Then you have your next thing is your estimated value. And obviously, if it's over a certain amount, it's going to put it as an auction. So if I was to sell this piece, it would go into an auction. Now, its estimated value they're saying is 2,495 CV. That may be a stretch. So take these values with a grain of salt. Just because it says that's what it's worth doesn't mean that's what you're going to get for it. It's all based on market demand, and if there are buyers out there who have enough wealth to purchase those types of items. Also, our next category is, what it's best for. So the website's going to actually take all the armor that you have, and it's going to say this armor would be best for this type of hero, regardless of where that hero is. So you can see here, over here, this piece here, this 2383 piece is a Builder App piece, It's a chess piece. It's pristine. This is how I have it named. And it's on this specific hero. And Vikard is my hermit. So my hermits wear app gear, as does my warden, as does my adept. So that's just kind of giving you a rundown on here. So this column here is going to just tell you what each piece of gear is. So if you don't know what you're going to use that piece of gear for, and let me see if I have like this one down here. I actually put this one here. You can see this is the folder I have this plate chest in right now. It's in my armor, it's a tower, and it's a THP. So to me, I figured this armor piece would be most likely used by a THP summoner. And you see over here, the website believes that I'm correct. It also believes that this should go to a builder summoner. Your builder summoners are generally just walls, so you want a lot of tower health. So that is, let me see if we have anything else. So I thought this one would be a T-range piece based on my own. These are the folders I had before I ever used this website. And I like to keep items, especially that I'm storing that are on heroes. I always keep them in folders for what that armor is going to be used for. And the website believes that this is definitely a THP range piece. So that's so now we're kind of covering all of these different things. You can see when we get further down, the values of my gear are dramatically dropping. All of my auction pieces are up top. And now I'm getting to some lower value pieces. And this is what I mean. You can actually really gear yourself up for a low amount. You can get some, getting a 2,000 piece apprentice set. I mean, this apprentice set, which is just wearing capping ult gear, is it's still good. I mean, at the end of the day, it can get you quite far in the game. Obviously, with a better pet, this pet is you can definitely improve your score by 150, 450 points just with a different pet. Maybe get a better weapon. This is a decent set for an ult set. All right, moving back down here. So we have a different thing. Best for builder EV. This may change because a builder EV has traditionally just been worried about damage for your buff beam, but with the advent of SAM towers, you kind of almost want app stats with health on your EV if you're gonna be a heavy a SAM user for EVs. This is just a cool. It's just really cool, and it's going to sort all your gear based on the builder app rating. So we've covered what the ratings are, your values, what it's best for, the type, your type of whether it's chest, helm, gloves, boots, what kind of piece of gear it is. This is what you have it named. So not every, obviously chain vest, I don't have these things named because they haven't been upgraded, but all the other ones are definitely named by me. Where it actually is located, is it on a hero or is it in a specific folder? And then obviously we already talked about, this shows you what folder it's in, and this shows, and that number in the parentheses shows you what page in that folder it would be in if your folder is sorted by levels. Obviously we have quality, and then you have your level, and then what your max level is, and then you have all your hero stats down here. So one of the things I do want to show you is here. So we chose builder app, and you see over here there are 3 stars, which is and these icons are obviously darkened. So this shows you these are the 3 main stats for a builder app. If I change it to builder hermit, you're going to see this change to these 3 being highlighted and rate not being highlighted. So obviously if you hover over it, it even tells you status important and add it to the rating. You could obviously change this if you want. I could click on it and change, and do that, which changes the rating, all right? But just know, you change any one of these, if I go to T-range, you're going to see it's grabbing T-range, and it still has these as highlighted because these would be considered what your sides would be, but your most important stat is starred. And it does this for all of them. So if I go to, let's just do DPS AB2. You see here, it's like, okay, it wants resistances, and this is going to show you just the average resistance. So if I hover over that piece, you see that my resistances are 29, 29, 29, 29 on all 4 resistances for this specific piece of gear. You'd want AB2, you want tower, hero damage, but you also want some hero health, and you also would like cast rate. Now, why do you want cast rate? If you have a decent cast rate on your DPS heroes, it means you can heal faster. So, going through any one of these things, all right, DPS AB1, still the same process. You want AB1 and AB1 and hero damage, your most important stats, but then you have health, cast rate, and your resistances. So this is pretty much it. Now, we get to the kind of question is, well, how does this help you? Because you can't actually equip this gear onto your hero for use in Dungeon Defenders. It really just lets you go. You can play around with your gear without having to mess around with your heroes in the game. But now you gotta, okay, now that I know what gear I want to be on my hero, now I need to go ahead and find that gear and then equip it on that hero. That's still something you're just gonna have to do. There's nothing you can go around doing that. I do want to highlight just a few other things. So like when I'm gonna go ahead and highlight some of my other heroes. So like let's say Zulay. Zulay is built as a builder app. I'm just going to show you. Zulay is built as a builder app. And you see here when I select Zulay, I'm going to try not to hover over any of my gear. You see here, it highlights down here. These are the, for this particular hero who's wearing chain gear, these are the 4 best pieces for that hero. And they're all highlighted down here. And if I look, I can go, okay, well, yes, Zulay is wearing the 4 best pieces. If this chain piece was on a different hero, I would go, well, okay, you know what? It's probably best to put on Zulay. So if I change this over to, I'm going to do this to Battlehammer, who wears chain, is my chain DPS monk. I can scroll through here and see, okay, let me get down here. All right, so this is the best chain chest piece I would have for my hero, and he's wearing it. This is the best boots he'd have. He's wearing it. This is the best gauntlets, his gloves, and all right, he's wearing it. And he's wearing the best helmet. So based on all that, Battlehammer is wearing the best chain gear I have in each one of those slots. Okay, so that's all the fun you can have with this website. Just a few things. Just know that this loads locally. This is not uploading your save file to any repository or anything like that. It's all local to your machine. So don't worry about the security in that aspect. Your save file is safe with you. It's not going anywhere. So what can be found with this website? I'm still going to use my spreadsheet because that's just how I've been doing it for 13 years, it feels like. And that's what I'm most comfortable with. But I can say this site, using this site helped me find some things. Like I had some gear sitting in folders I didn't even know about. I'd already forgotten about. I'm like, oh, dang, I have some decent gear in these folders. It can really shed some light on some things that you may have already forgotten you had. And it definitely might help you find the best armor for that specific hero, because you might have some armor on, especially in your DPS heroes, when you have a lot of DPS heroes, that might be spread out across many different heroes, and you go, you know what, it'd be better if I took that piece of armor from that hero and that one from that hero and put it on this hero, and kind of reorganize your heroes that way. So that's everything that I wanted to cover. I'm sure there's probably more things to cover. As of this video, which was filmed on February 5th, you can see that this was last updated on February 3rd, 2026, in its version 1.7b. It is possible that Mage does additional updates and just adds more cool things to this. But for now, this website is pretty freaking cool. And it's a wonderful tool that can really shed some light and maybe take some guesswork out of what's the best piece of gear for your specific heroes. I think this thing will really help some of you. For me, I like looking at all the pretty colors and just the cool. Yes, the chart at the bottom is really freaking cool, and I really enjoy that piece. But it really lets you see a lot of things in different lights without having to change anything in the game. So go to this website, load your save up, have a look, and see, are you using the most optimal gear for your specific heroes? Find out. That's all I have for today. Thanks for watching, and happy farming.